Well, would you look at what we have here? 2017 Range Rover. It was towed here this morning because apparently it stalls. Another shop has looked at it and said they found evidence of rodent damage. I'm looking at the vehicle. I drove it in the shop here, and there's no warning lights on. I mean, I have the parking brake on, it's automatic. I didn't get a clear story from the owner because I haven't spoken to the owner directly, but I'm going to do that first thing in the morning. But I'm going to do a network scan just to see if there's any codes in this thing. So this is another new vehicle ID. 2020, I thought it was a 17. 2020. Got it running. I hope that's okay. Looks a lot like a Ford. Pick up when it IDs. Well, this is a new screen. Snap-on scan tool says an S7 and then part number, or S9 part number, compact scan module is needed to communicate with this vehicle. Please see your sales representative for more information. Select change vehicle to exit. Isn't that special? So let's try it with the Think Tool Pro Plus. There's always something going on. Let's see if this will work. 2020 Evoque. Diagnosis. Yes, that's correct. Let's do a smart scan. So what's up, Snap-on? Why does it need another module? I've never heard of that before. Got a BCM code. We'll pick up when this network scan is complete. Well, we're getting there, slowly. Lots of red modules. So let's look at the diagnostic report. Evoque 2. Invalid data received from remote function actuation. Signal compare failure. Chassis control module. Front right damper solenoid short circuit to ground or open. Left rear wheel hub vertical acceleration sensor. Gear shift module. Battery voltage low. Headlamp control. Turn signal power feed has a blown fuse. HVAC control. Passenger compartment temperature sensor fan actuator stuck. Instrument panel cluster. B108E-04 system internal failures. BCM, variable coolant pump performance stuck off. Haven't seen anything serious yet. Passenger front seat, control module and proper shutdown voltage related. Okay. Nothing earth-shattering there, nothing related to stalling. Where's the ECM? ECM had a code. Variable coolant pump performance stuck off, actuator stuck, pending. Well, we got a report, so let's clear all the DTCs. and see if they go, and that one's still in current. So after doing a network clear, we still got the BCM code, invalid data received from front actuation, signal compare failure, passenger front seat module, control module improper shutdown, and chassis left rear wheel hub vertical acceleration sensor, circuit short to ground or open. Well, first thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to get a hold of this customer and get first-hand information from them about exactly what was going on with this vehicle. I was told by the father of the person that owns this that the vehicle wouldn't run. Now it's here running, seems to be running just fine. Now I haven't driven it anywhere, but going to get some more information before we get too far involved here. So I spoke with the owner of the vehicle personally this morning, and her complaint to me was that the vehicle would occasionally have no throttle response. She said you could step on the gas pedal and the vehicle wouldn't accelerate. It's been doing it on and off for about a month. I spoke with the dealer, or the technician who was working on the vehicle, and he indicated to me that he was told that the vehicle wouldn't move, that you'd start it and it would run, but when you put the transmission into drive, it wouldn't move, and you'd have to let it sit for a while. He indicated when he did his network scans that he had network codes. So I did a code clear yesterday, and I'm going to do a rescan. In fact, I'm going to do a smart scan right now, again, while we speak, with the ThinkTool Pro Plus. And then we're going to take this thing for a road test and see what it does and if it acts up, because we're chasing a ghost here. He indicated that he had seen mouse droppings or rat droppings on the passenger side under the dash and some peanut shells and stuff. So he was concerned that he might have some chewed wires, and that's a possibility. Perfect throttle response now. So there is a message on the dash about a suspension fault, and the customer said that that's been there for a few months. And I don't believe that's related. Now, after doing the network scan again this morning, let's see what we got here. Got a code in the BCM. Let's see what the code in the BCM is. Invalid data received from remote function actuator compare signal. Okay. And headlamp control, turn signal power feed has a blown fuse or missing calibration. Okay, don't think. Passenger front seat control module improper shutdown, voltage related, calibration parameter, memory failure. Variable coolant pump performance stuck off. Now, she did say that about a month and a half ago she had a coolant leak, and that was addressed by the shop that was working on it. Not 100% certain what was replaced. ECM, oh, that was the variable coolant pump. Passenger compartment temperature sensor fan actuator stuck. And this is the front right damper solenoid circuit. You know, the tech that was working on this thing mentioned that there was a problem with some wiring to the right front strut. And it also has left rear wheel hub vertical acceleration sensor circuit short to ground. None of this, I believe, would affect the performance of the vehicle. And we don't have any, other than this one code here, invalid data received from remote function actuator. That's like the remote control device. So I'm going to take this thing for a road test and think I'm going to go into engine, monitor some ECM data while I'm driving it, just to see if it'll do anything, read data stream. wonder how fast the refresh rate is. Building a data list takes a while. Select all. Okay. And we're going to record it while we're driving it. So on the road test, and I'm on a gravel road, so I didn't want to record it, I hear what sounds to be like an air rushing sound that occurs occasionally, and the engine loses power momentarily. She mentioned that when I talked to her. She said there's a hissing noise. Hopefully it'll make it on the pavement here and the camera will pick it up. No warning lights on, other than the suspension message. And it stumbled there. What is that noise? That is a strange sound. I'm sure the noise and the temporary loss of power are related. That is strange. I hope the camera's picking that up. There's like a momentary surge in power. And I'm not sure that that's an air induction sound. I'm stopping on the highway here. I'm sure that's the problem that she's complaining about, is this. It sounds like a wastegate or a blow-off valve, but I don't even know if this is turbocharged. Honestly, haven't even opened the hood yet. That's a really strange sound. There's like an air rushing sound and then a temporary sag in engine performance. Well, we'll bring it back to the shop and inspect the air induction system components. See what we're dealing with for an engine in this thing. I did not let off on the accelerator pedal. It's like surging under light throttle. Got it to do it a couple of times quite loud off camera, and see if
if I can get it to do it from a stop. It's almost like the traction control is kicking in, and it's cutting throttle response because of that. When I let off on the gas, it sounded like a blow-off valve. That time when I let off too. Strange problem. Now we'll head back. That sounded like a Haldex clutch engaging. I'm sure this is all-wheel drive. I wonder if we're losing a speed signal or something. And it thinks the tire is spinning or something. Okay, I'm going to turn around. So I did a network code scan again. It doesn't look like we got any new codes. Turn signal. Switch pack general signal failure. That's a new code. Control module improper shutdown calibration. We had that one before. ECM is the coolant pump performance. And temperature compartment. And then the chassis control module. I did record ABS data, so I'm going to look at these recordings and see if I can see any anomalies. So it looks like this is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. So it's obviously got a blow-off valve. I think it's down here. Inside here someplace. I looked at the air induction system for loose hoses. Don't see anything obvious. I'm going to look at some case histories on Identifix and see if I can find any other information on this. So I loaded the vehicle in Identifix, and Identifix has no service literature whatsoever. I don't know if it's because it was only sold in Canada or because it's a 2020. It's only 4 years old. I'm going to type in the word hesitation. Nothing. Oh well, we'll try Identifix, or we'll try AllData. So AllData has electrical diagrams, OE diagrams, but we don't even know where to start looking at the electrical issue because none of the fault codes, in my opinion, are related to this symptom, and we're chasing a symptom. I looked for case histories on AllData, and AllData doesn't really provide that kind of a service. TSBs I looked at, there was a couple of updates for minor performance problems, but they don't appear to be related. Oh, brother. So I'm using this ThinkTool Pro Plus to replay that recording of the data list. I recorded the entire engine data list, and then I went back and reloaded the record of the recording, and I'm looking at absolute throttle position, accelerator pedal, and so on. But I noticed that when I get past the items that were on the screen, well, maybe they are on there now. Sometimes it doesn't record the data that's I can't beat the Snap-on scanner for graphing data or replaying data. Frame playback. I'm going to figure out how to replay this. So it's replaying the data at 3 times the recorded refresh rate, which is painfully slow, as you can see. And that's probably because I recorded the entire data list. Wow, this is more or less useless. Absolute throttle position. That's 4 times the recorded speed. How come there's no change in the throttle position? I recorded 16 minutes of data. Nothing's changing. No change to the boost elk, and no change to engine load. This recording is going to be useless. Let's go back and look at this recording. 1037, 1041. This was the ABS data that I recorded. And again, I recorded the entire data list. I'm going to pick some data parameters to replay. So I've selected wheel speeds, left front, left rear, right front, as well as steering angle, vehicle speed, yaw rate, and brake, electric park brake. And when I play this back, it's a recording of 201 frames. It's useless. 3 kilometers, 3 kilometers. And I was driving 35, 40 kilometers an hour. Then right at the end, it records some data. Let's get to the end here where it starts to replay it. But I should have been recording right from the get-go. Like, how come we don't have rear speed signals? '68, '67, '70, '70, '70. I don't know. I'm going to do some more research. So we're down underneath this Rover here, and the rear diff has obviously got some kind of electric locking mechanism up there. You see the motor. To me, it sounds like and feels like it's going into fuel cut because of a perceived wheel spin or something like that. Now I see in the right front here, the wires to the shock strut assembly are compromised. Now that's one of the codes, but I can't see that affecting the drivability. I think I'm going to take it back out on a road test
and record the wheel speed signals in case we have one that's dropping out. It's acting like it's going into a traction control mode. I'm sure this has traction control and automatic four-wheel drive and all that good stuff. Now the tires are all original by the looks of it, and all the same brand and the same size. She's a strange one, that's for sure. Now, if it's cutting engine power, that would account for the turbo blowing off or blow-off valve releasing air. That's the whooshing sound. But then there's another noise from the rear of the vehicle that could be this rear differential applying because of a perceived wheel spin. So I spliced that wire, added a little section. I'm going to tape this harness back up and resecure this. Hopefully this connector is not compromised up here. That's a solenoid. That looks like, I'm not sure what that is, if it's a wheel speed sensor. Well, we'll reconnect it, tape it up, and it'll hopefully get rid of that one code anyways. So there's the harness taped back up and resecured. Might be a wise idea to put a tie wrap around here as well. These vehicles are not meant for Northern Ontario, in my opinion. There's too much electronics. Wow. I know that's not causing the problem, but it is a problem, so we'll hopefully fix it. Now there's a problem with the rear sensor on one side too. So I just started the vehicle and it's idling in park and it's doing this. And my scanner's updating. So this is the fault code we have now. The idle control system's higher than expected, no subtype. And the variable coolant pump performance stuck off. E050700. Let's see what happens if we clear the fault memory. Now it's idling properly again. All I did was start it. This vehicle is full of interesting problems. Let's go into that chassis control module. Read fault codes. So right front damper solenoid circuit short to ground. And left rear wheel hub vertical acceleration sensor short to ground or open. That's got to be what that other sensor is. Vertical acceleration sensor. Left rear, driver's side rear. Let's clear the fault memory and see if it gets rid of that right front one. Did it clear? Okay, read fault codes. So we did get rid of that one. Let's look around in here and what module controls the four-wheel drive. I'm gonna look around. I would think it would be the all-wheel drive module, so let's go into that. No, got no communication with that. That's DDCM, driveline disconnect control module. That'd probably be it. Read fault code. No diagnostic trouble codes. Read data stream. Active diagnostic session, current diagnostic session, time since ignition on, and measured actuator position sensor supply voltage. That's not much data. Well, I'm sure that the ABS system, let's try this all-wheel drive module. Read fault code. Nothing.
Read data stream. I want to see if I can see the actuation of that. Well, I'd call it a Haldex clutch, but it's probably not that type of system, but it's similar. Yes, I'm going to make the data list here. So there are 227 data parameters in this all-wheel drive control module. Things like last event dynamic rolling radius, delta between front and rear wheels, and left right wheels, left rear wheel dynamic rolling radius difference. Wow. And if you record the entire data list, it slows down the refresh rate to the point where it's almost useless. Motor speed. Right rear wheel. Where's right front? Wonder if we can disable that. Right rear right wheel speed sensor input. Why not right rear right front? Or rear front. Sorry, why not rear left? Maybe it's under L. Left rear wheel speed. Left front wheel speed. So we're going to take it for a road test and see if it acts up at all. Well, watching a vehicle's wheel speed signals and everything, nothing changes, but it's doing it quite aggressively. It sounds like the blow-off valve or the wastegates actuator is dumping boost pressure. Nothing's changing on the wheel speed signals here. The differential's not engaging. Sometimes under light acceleration it'll do it. Okay, I'm going to pull over and graph some engine data. So I'm recording absolute throttle position, accelerator pedal position, airflow, boost actuator bank 1, desired position and actual position. I couldn't find a status of a blow-off valve, but mind you, I didn't check. Well, let's see, I'll record this. I found the traction control button to turn it off, the traction control. I'm starting to think it might be an induction leak, and that could concur with that idle code that we had. I'm not sure how this system works, but I'm going to try and see if it still does it. Mind you, I'm on a gravel road now. Got the engine cover off, so it's louder. See, when I take my foot off the gas pedal, you can hear like a blow-off action of the turbo. And that's kind of what the sound is, only it happens under acceleration sometimes. Well, I'm going to go back to the shop and take some air induction parts off and make sure there's no loose clamps or anything in the air filter housing. $952 data parameters to choose from. That's just freaking insane. So here is a picture of the air distribution and filtering system. So the low pressure side of it is the air filter housing. I'm suspecting a high pressure leak. There's the high pressure side of it.
So it comes out of the turbo, through the intercooler, through the charge air cooler, I guess you'd call that, or intercooler. And the intake manifold is, you can't see anything from the top of this engine compartment. What's item number 1? Compressor recirculation valve. So that's underneath the air induction system. And item number 6 is the 6 and 10 are either the boost pressure sensor, charge air temperature sensor, and 10 manifold absolute pressure temperature sensor. See if I can find any information on that recirculation valve. So it looks like it dumps the air pressure from the turbo back into the, I wonder if we disconnect that, what would happen. I'm going to see if I can find that. So that recirculation valve lives down underneath here, and I'm looking down in here, and I can see, if you look there, there's a hose off. I don't know where it goes, but we're going to take this air filter, air distribution off. There it is there. You can see it on the camera. Right there in the middle of the screen. Where is that hose supposed to go? I'm sure it's supposed to be connected. So I'm having a bit of a time getting this hose clamp off back here. It's one of these style clamps, and I have the pliers for it, but I can't get them on there because there's a rubber seal. But I can see that valve is, that hose is off of the blow-off valve, and that might cause an idle quality issue, because that would allow unmetered air in that the airflow sensor didn't read. And also when it's blowing off, it wouldn't be blowing off, it'd be blowing off to the atmosphere instead of blowing off to the air induction system. So again, an unmetered leak. So I'm going to see if I can get that hose clamp on there. So I had to take the battery and the battery tray out, which is a huge operation in itself. I couldn't get my hose clamping pliers on there. I don't think that hose blew off. I think it was left off by a previous repair, but I can't say for sure. It's on there nice and secure now. That clamp is really stiff. I was going to replace that clamp with a conventional clamp, but it's molded into the hose. Beautiful. So we'll put it back together again and see if the strange noises are gone. So there it is, back together and running. That induction leak would have affected the idle quality and air-fuel ratio, but when it came, it had all the codes cleared before and everything related to fuel ratio. We're going to take it for a road test now and see how it runs. Here's the results of a rescan now. Got control voltage improper shutdown. That should likely clear. That's probably because of disconnecting the battery. And that left rear hub vertical acceleration sensor, it's probably got an open circuit. Let's take it for a road test. Perfectly smooth now. Nice and smooth, no more induction noise. So what happened? How did that hose come off? Or was it left off on a previous repair? We'll probably never know. So the C106A-14 left rear wheel hub vertical acceleration sensor problem. Guided diagnostics must be followed and repair advised procedures completed. Failure to do so may result in rejection of any warranty claim. Possible causes: rear left vertical accelerometer sensor short circuit to ground, rear internal failure. Refer to the electrical circuit diagrams and check the rear left vertical accelerometer circuit for short circuit to ground. Repair the circuit as required. Clear the DTC and diagnostic trouble codes and retest. If the fault persists, install a new left rear vertical accelerometer. Well, I got it up on the hoist and I'm doing a visual inspection of it. So that is the sensor right in there, I believe. And visually looking at it, I don't see any broken wires, but I should take the wheel off. I think the easiest thing to do would be to temporarily connect the right side to the left sensor and the left side to the right sensor and see if the code follows the sensor or the wiring. So I removed the left sensor. It's got a 3-wire plug to it, and I inspected the wires, and the wires look good. The connector is clean. And I've temporarily plugged it into the right sensor's harness. So if it now sets a code for the right sensor, then it actually should have both codes now, right and left. I could take this one off here and plug it in on the other side, but I'm going to see what it says now when I scan it. So I put the right side on the left harness, and it's still setting the left code. I'm going to try disconnecting the right side to see if it sets a code for it. So it's definitely got a wiring problem between the speed or the accelerometer sensor and the control module, wherever that lives. Because I've got the right side sensor plugged into the left harness. So let's put it back together. So here is a picture of the suspension, vehicle dynamic suspension controls. And this is the accelerometer rear left. There's a connector, C44B1. So I decided I'd see if I could find out where that connector is. And under connector views, it shows 1,155 connectors in this vehicle. Isn't that frickin' insane? Here's C44B1, main harness to chassis harness. So that is, where is that? It's in the wheel well. Is that the front wheel? Can't tell where that is. Harness cabin, left-hand harness. There it is there. Because that's a likely place for a circuit to fail, is at a connector, especially if it's in the wheel well like that. So I think that's it right up there behind the left rear wheel well. I don't know if there's one on this side. No, there's not. So I'd have to take the inner fender skirt out and check continuity of the wires from there. I don't see any obvious problems, but that's secondary. I have to talk to the customer.